Thank you. If you could please exit quietly. Thank you. Just head on to the door right now. It would be very helpful to the committee. We appreciate that. Right now, I'm going to turn the gavel over to, I don't see Mr. Chavez. I guess it would be Ms. Weber. Smile, Ms. Weber.
Can you also announce that the Jones bill has been pulled?
Yes, and I must announce that AB 1344 by Mr. Jones has been pulled from today's calendar.
Which one is it, Rick?
For what?
They should both be up. They should both be up. There you go.
Oh. Is that on? Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell, you have three bills. Which one are you doing? Which one?
I believe we're just doing one at this moment, which
Okay.
would be, I'm sorry, AB 827. AB 827.
Okay, let's begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the committee.
Could we have it quiet, please? Could we have the door closed? I think there are a number of persons coming in.
Thank you. And I should just start by saying this bill comes from my own experience as a high school teacher of many years and witnessing the experiences of my students. And this is my way of bringing my classroom experience to the committee. I am pleased to present AB 827, which would require that teachers receive training on support available to LGBTQ students, both at school and in the community. The motivation for this bill, again, comes from my experience as a 20-plus year high school teacher. In the course of my career, I frequently saw LGBTQ students struggle with harassment, homophobic remarks, and bullying. I saw some actually get kicked out of their homes. And I didn't see a lot of resources available, especially to those who got kicked out of their homes. I also saw that when these kids were brave enough to tell a trusted adult at school, that adult often didn't know where to turn for help. The resources weren't readily identified or weren't readily available. AB 827 will require that teachers have the information they need to support their LGBTQ students. Research has shown that this support improves student safety, motivation, attendance, and has a significant effect on student learning. With me in support today are Scott Miller, fifth grade teacher from Santa Ana. He's a board member of Equality California and co-chair of the CTA LGBT Caucus, and Independence Taylor, a high school student at Visions in Education. With that, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, with that, if we could hear from the witnesses.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Chair and members, Joe Michael for Equality California. We're proud to sponsor this bill, and we would love to cede the rest of our time to the witnesses. Thank you.
Great. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Scott Miller, fifth grade teacher from Santa Ana, a little bit south of here, a very conservative area. And I can tell you that as a person who has taken this issue on for the last 3 years to train our educators up and down this state, our teachers are hungry for this information. Just my presence coming up to testify today, I had 2 school districts reach out to me to train them yesterday, and I have one at 4 o'clock today in Stockton. They want the information. This is a real issue. Our children are dying. They are not coming to school. They're on the streets. They're becoming infected with HIV. That's the biggest group of kids are our teenagers. We need to do something. I cannot train every teacher in this state. I need your help to pass a bill that will require my colleagues to get information at the beginning of each school year. because they want the information, they need it, and our kids desperately need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
My name is Independence Taylor. I'm here to speak in support of AB 827. Annual training for school staff about resources for queer students would make a huge impact for these students such as myself. In my freshman year of high school, I struggled with my identity as a queer youth and a lack of support at my school with my struggle. I ended up switching to independent study and then dropping out for my entire sophomore year due to my continual struggle with my queer identity. It wasn't until junior year that I felt comfortable in school and was able to go back and get back on track. Resources to give queer youth is so important to their survival and success in school. A lot of queer youth I went to school with graduated with straight C's or have not graduated at all. They dropped out. I want to make sure that we can give success to all the queer youth in school right now and in the future.
Thank you for your testimony. Any others in support? Please come line up over here at the microphone. State your name, affiliation, and position. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ronnie Swimmer. I support AB 827 and
Thank you.
Maya Duran with California Latinas for Reproductive Justice and Support.
Jeff Gould, Cardia Services in support.
Hi, my name is Siddhartha Taruk, an Oakland High School student, and it is vital that teachers receive LGBTQ culturally competent training so that all students feel comfortable, which can help them focus and learn as much as they can.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yao. I'm from the Oakland High School student. Teachers need to support LGBTQ students because they always feel left out.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody in opposition? Okay. Hearing none. Any questions or comments from committee members? Mr. Thurman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to thank the author for bringing this very important bill. I want to thank all of the speakers for what you shared. And I believe that it will be opening doors for students throughout California and hopefully beyond California. I wanted to ask about the training and how do districts get access to it. And it sounds like you're getting pretty stretched, and hopefully we've got others who are also able to train in other parts of the state. And then if there are training components and considerations for younger age students, younger than high school, and I'll just share that, very recently I've been asked for support from parents of elementary school students who are exploring their sexual identity as young as second or third grade, and they're asking for resources that are available. And I'm interested in knowing if the resources in the training component are amenable for also supporting our youngest students as well.
What I've taken on is the opportunity to go out and meet with teachers on the laws that have already been passed. Most teachers don't know about them. So if you don't know about a law, you can't enforce it, you can't work with it. And I do believe that at some point, I don't want to take away the scope of this bill. It needs to start somewhere. Grades 7 through 12 would be the best place. But I can tell you as a fifth grade teacher, it's there in elementary school. And most transgender adults will tell you, most gay people will tell you, that they knew they were different in grades K through 3. So that's there. The issue's real. Our elementary teachers aren't afraid to discuss this any longer. So the training that I've done is I've just really have taken on all the laws that this great state has already passed to make sure people are aware of what they need to be doing. So leaving it up to the districts to do would be a wonderful first step in making sure that teachers know what they're supposed to be doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like to close?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the witnesses here today. And I'd like to also add that I accept the committee amendments. Okay. And I'd like to respectfully ask for an aye vote on this very important matter.
Second? Okay, so moved and seconded. Please call the roll. Oh, the motion is, of course, to do pass as amended to appropriations.
Okay, thank you. O'Donnell?
Aye.
O'Donnell, aye. Chavez? Kim? No. Kim, no. McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Santiago? Thurman? Aye. Thurman, aye. Weber? Okay, it has 3 votes. so
Okay. 3 votes, it's on call. Take a brief 30-second recess.
Which one?
The last one.
Well, now, Mr. Thurman, we'll hear AB 1014. It's file item number 13. Mr. Thurman, you may begin.
The program would provide grants to public schools seeking to resolve the attendance problems of pupils in kindergarten's grades through 1 to 3. AB 1014 will accomplish 3 important goals. It'll improve student attendance, it'll generate needed revenue for California schools, and create brighter long-term outcomes for California youth. A 2014 report from the Attorney General's office found that only 17% of California's chronically absent students in kindergarten and first grade read proficiently by 3rd grade. If children are not reading at grade level, their chances of dropping out increases by 4 times. In the 2010-2011 school year, California schools lost $1.4 billion in ADA revenue simply because kids were not in their classrooms. By example, the Berkeley Unified School District spent about $100,000 to bring on a dean of attendance and other staff to support outreach. And as a result, 1 year later, they saw an increase in more than $500,000 of ADA revenue. We want to see schools replicate or apply simple and similar outreach to help bring students back to our classrooms, and this grant will assist in helping them get started. As you all know, school districts often just don't have the resources to have a home visitor. They might have someone who can make a few phone calls. They might have an attendance clerk. They might have a committee that reviews attendance, but this bill places the emphasis squarely on having individual staff who can go and visit in the community where children have been identified as chronically absent, to work with those families to address whatever the issues are that keep those young people from coming to school. So they learn to read by 3rd grade, so they're safe, and so that school districts are able to achieve the revenue that they so very much need. I'm honored today to have 2 great witnesses with me today. Ms. Amy Gallardo, who is one of the senior directors at Lincoln Child Center, which provides outreach for students who are chronically absent in every school district in Alameda County. I'm also glad to be joined by Mr. Wendell Greer, who is the Associate Superintendent at the West Contra Costa Unified School District. And I invite Ms. Gallardo to provide her testimony.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Assembly Bill 1014, our children's success. I'm Amy Gallardo, the Program Director for our School Engagement Program in Alameda County. We have been providing in-home clinical case management, outreach, linkage supports to children and families who have been referred by Alameda County for the past 4 years. During that time, we've identified a range of issues that result in children's chronic absenteeism or truancy. It can be homelessness, a parent's mental illness, their physical illness, transportation, distance from school, lack of appropriate school placement, and sometimes it's a ruptured relationship with the school program. The most effective interventions we've implemented include combining outreach and case management with some mental health services that address some of the traumas experienced by these families, most of whom are living in poverty. In fact, this population, I've worked with multiple populations over the last 15 to 20 years in Alameda County, is the most striking example of urban poverty I've ever seen. And a team of staff help these families access critical services that can reduce barriers to their attendance and help them reconnect with schools. We found that the services to improve attendance makes about 90% of the population we're working with improve and reduce their truancy. But unfortunately, at this point, services are kind of reactive. They're only provided to a family that's been brought through many levels, and they've often been truant and missed several semesters worth of school. And the focus on providing outreach and home visiting early in their child education, when chronic absenteeism is highest for the low-income students, would be amazing. School districts would be incentivized to integrate the necessary supports before children have begun to lose their precious learning time.
You could sum up, please.
Yeah. The same effective interventions we found to be successful could be utilized, but at a less intensive and earlier level. So.
Thank you.
With the chair's concurrence, Mr. Greer from West Contra Costa Unified School District. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendell Greer. I'm the Associate Superintendent, West Contra Costa Unified School District. Its hub is in Richmond, in San Pablo. We have 30,000 students, and 1,000 of these students in grades K through 3 do not come to school 10 or more days. And if you equate that to their learning, they're falling behind. This bill will provide support for our district, or any district, so that we can go out and do coordination of services with cities, counties, and community-based organizations to support the children and the families for the needs that are out there. We use the term full-service community schools. The schools are hubs. This is where the kids come, and this is where I feel the services will be, and having an outreach worker to go out into the home is especially relevant for us to bring and see and provide services to that home and to that child. I hope that you will support this. The need is there, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're limited to 2 witnesses, sir. If you want to state your name and position, and
sure, Brad Strong.
20 seconds.
Brad Strong, Children Now and Strong Support. We think it's a time to show some best practices, and this is chronic absenteeism and truancy is a critical issue. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And other witnesses in support, if you could just state your name, affiliation, and position on the bill.
Sure. Eric Baca with the Los Angeles Unified School District. We have a supportive amended position. Just to clarify the amended position, we just want clarification about the parent advocate position, just to determine if that is a school district employee or if that's a parent, and just addressing some of the sensitivity of the information they're accessing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further in support? Seeing no one else in support. Do we have any opposition? Any witnesses in opposition? I see no witnesses in opposition. Any members of the committee wish to comment? Mr. McCarty.
Thank you. I support the bill and would like to move the bill at the appropriate time. But first, want to thank the member for bringing this forward. I know I've spoken to you on this topic. I had a experience working at the local level as a former council member, working with a local middle school and community groups, trying to do home visitation and community engagement, try to get kids back in the classroom, of course, get the school more ADA, but more importantly, create a better trajectory of success for those young people. And I really want to focus on home visitation. I know over a decade ago, I think the state put some one-time money for home visitation through a program, through community groups to go out there, and it really had some great results. The recession then hit, and so I think that you're hitting an area which I think can produce some results for California. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. And Mr. Thurman, if you could sum up, please.
Thank you again for hearing AB 1014. I'm sorry. I will yield to the member and to the chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Sorry. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Thurman, I just have a question for clarification purposes. I know I just got the copy of the amendment that you accepted.
Yes.
Could you clarify the various provisions that you accepted and what's included in it, specifically the area where we talk about the pilot program. Because in theory, I do support the idea of helping children so that we can, encourage them to stay in school. And also, I do understand that chronic absence is something each school should attempt to reduce or eliminate. But I do have some concern regarding that. This is probably again, anytime we establish a categorical program that is contradictory to the recent adoption of local control funding formula, I always have to ask ourselves, why do we need to do this when we have already adopted LCFF and giving the control back to the locals? So I just wanted you to help me understand, and maybe that's clarifying the amendment that you accepted from the committee might be a good way to start.
Yes, thank you for your question, Senator Member Kim. We've always been clear that this bill needed to be designed in a way that gives school districts that same flexibility that is engendered in the local control funding formula and everything about LCAP. This does not supplant it in any way. In fact, it complements it. The experience that I had in 2008 when I was first sworn in as a school board member is that the state budget had been so bad at that time that one of the first positions to be just cut out of every school district's budget, most school districts' budgets, was the position of home visiting for attendance. And this is an opportunity to help provide that support. Even with the local control funding formula, most school districts in California still do not have the ability to have designated staff who can do home visiting and who can do the kind of intervention that will get our young people back into school. The reason we accepted the amendments is because we understand that some of the problems that cause young children, as young as kindergarten, to miss school are very chronic and sometimes severe. And so it will take time for districts to build systems, to make changes, to do the intervention, and most importantly, to be able to show the data that we actually made a difference by doing this. So we accepted the committee's direction with the amendment that we would have time to build these systems, to report out, to share best practices across the district. We agree with the amendments proposed that we should be looking at districts in a very diverse way, and that the issue of chronic absenteeism is one that is not unique to any one district. It impacts rural districts at a very, very high level, as well as urban districts. And so one thing that we know we have in common is that our kids just are not learning when they miss school. Hundreds of thousands of kids last year and this year will miss more than 10% of school time. And sadly, that just means that they won't be ready to read by third grade, and they may experience other negative outcomes. So we accepted those amendments. We appreciated the amendments that we would focus on those schools that have the highest rates of chronic absenteeism today. Today I was visited by the president of the Oakland School, the Oakland City Council, and she represents a part of Oakland, West Oakland, that has double-digit rates of chronic absenteeism for young children. I know that Ms. Gallardo could talk about it at Lincoln Child Center. They're working to provide the support. And by the way, all the work that Lincoln Child Center is doing comes from outside of funding of school districts. They've been able to cobble together a few dollars from county mental health to use Medi-Cal, but that means that there are many young people who still, even with that resource, cannot get the support that they need. So this is very complementary to the direction that we've been given by local control funding. It also says flexibility for districts to design the program that makes the most sense for their community. While we emphasize home visiting, we also recognize that every district may look a little bit different. The gentleman who asked the question about parent visitors, some districts actually train peer ambassadors, parent ambassadors who speak parent to parent to provide support in their outreach. And in some cases, they pay them. And this is a way of employing community folks who can work with the parents. They get training around confidentiality, and it's been proven to be very effective in areas where there are high rates of chronic absenteeism. We think that all of these requirements, reporting back to the legislature, showing strong data systems, we think that all of these amendments only add to what the bill is trying to do, and ultimately will mean that we will be able to, as new Assembly members, be able to say we can report back and show real results in a way that we typically won't get in our 12 years of service. We have a way to generate revenue that can, on an ongoing basis, solve a social problem. this investment that we make now will help kids do well by third grade, will generate new revenue, and ultimately will save us money in what we might have to pay to incarcerate those kids who drop out by third grade. I call it the triple bottom line, and I appreciate your questions and hope that you will support it.
Mr. Thurman, would you like to close?
I want to thank the committee for hearing AB 1014 today. This committee has been courageous in looking at very important issues like full-day kindergarten and providing services for all of our students so that California students can be, number one, and successful. I hope that you will also see how this complements everything that this committee has done thus far, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion do pass as amended to the Appropriations Committee. Do we hear a second? Thank you. Motion and second. Please call the roll.
O'Donnell, Chavez, Kim not voting, McCarty,
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Santiago, Thurman,
Aye.
Thurman, aye. Weber, okay, 2 votes.
Okay, signed call with 2 votes.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll stand by.
Thank you. Okay, next, Mr. Rodriguez. Item number 2, AB 319.